Ajay sir, are you there? Sriman?
Hi Aruna, I am very much here.
Oh, good evening, sir.
Good evening, how are you?
Fine, sir. How are you?
All well. Good to see you.
Thank you, sir. Madam would like to join, sir. She will join around 3:30. I will call her, okay?
Yeah, that would be lovely if she can do that. Yeah, I'm actually talking to her right now.
Okay, sir.
Hello, good evening. What is the total duration of this meeting? Can I know, Dr. Lakshmi?
3:30 to 5:30.
2 hours?
Yes.
Okay, it was not written anywhere, so I was not aware of it, that how long it will go, 3 hours or whatever it is.
Till 5:30.
So,
It's 2 hours.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
And we can have an interaction, you can actually chat with us in the chat box.
Okay.
Whenever you want to discuss and interact, okay?
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Is there any pre-test, post-test also?
Yes, you have to do. Then only you'll get the certificate. Please do the pre-test.
So
you have to do the registration first. You have done pre-test.
Where is
then after the sessions, you have to do the post-test.
From where to see?
You have opened the link, no? Then only you can see the pre-test. You have to fulfill. You have to fill the pre-test.
Kindly send the link, Ji.
Yes, I did it.
Ajay sir, can you please help her?
Lakwinder,
yes,
the
sir.
reason why you are here in this program right now, logged in, is because you have submitted your registration and pre-test.
Yeah. No, I have not submitted I have submitted.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Right, sir. Yes, sir.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be in this program today.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
So post-test will be done over here only, or we will get it on our link?
At the end of the session, a post-test link will be shared in the chat box. Click on the link and you will be taken to the post-test and feedback. You can submit it in the next 5 minutes and you're done.
Okay. Sir, by chance we miss that. Sometimes we miss the connection. Sometimes something happens.
Don't worry if you miss anything. We are here to support you.
Right,
and
sir.
We will send you an email separately, sending the link once again.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Shanta. Good to see you.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Ajay.
Hello,
and
Dr.
everyone.
Shanta. Yeah.
Hi. I've joined from a mobile, so I only can see very few. I'm seeing Chitra and Neelam and Gurpreet Batra. Now I see you, Ajay, now.
Yeah. So we have Lakshmi here, we have Aruna here, and later maybe Kiran Mai and Jamuna will also join us, who are the 24 years. I can see Kanchan here.
Yeah,
Kanchan,
very nice.
We are really looking at you, Kanchan Prasad.
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir. I would love to, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Good afternoon, Shanta ma'am.
Good afternoon, good afternoon. And good to see you, Thelma and Ratna. Both of you are here, the champions in Mangalore. I hope you can take this project forward in Mangalore in a big way. Hi, Krishna Kumari. How are you? Good to see you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Sir,
Good evening,
your name is
sir.
not-
Good evening, Shanta ma'am. Hello, Kanchan.
Hi.
Hello from Punjab.
Good evening, Shanta ma'am.
Hello,
evening.
hi, Gurpreet.
Not able to
Hi.
see
Uh,
Shanta, but
Good
hello.
evening, Dr. Shanta.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Sure.
Good evening, Sujitra
Let's start.
ma'am.
It's
Hi,
already
everyone.
2 minutes
Yeah,
more.
Let's start. Sriman?
yeah, we can. Before we play on the video, I will request Shanta to please say a few words before we get on with the formal program.
Hi. Thank you, Dr. Ajay. I think good afternoon, everyone, friends. And indeed, it's a pleasure to see all of you who have joined us today for this master training program for the Dheera online school program. I'm so very happy that so many people are keen to join us to become master trainers so that we can carry forward this Dheera No to Violence Against Women online school certification program, Foxy, in collaboration with UNICEF India, to across as many schools as possible in the country. And of course, all the OB-GYNs are also covered in the other OB-GYN curriculum program. And in fact, Ajay and the team have already finished the master trainers long back, but there was so much of demand from so many members of our society that they would like to take this master training session. So after getting a lot of requests, we have been able to reorganize this program of master trainers for Dheera online school certification program. And what I'm very happy is this program is now attracting lot of interest from across the globe, from the SAFA countries and other countries which are associated with FIGO. Dr. Rubina Sohail from Pakistan was so very keen that we take it across to the other SAFA countries. And today, I think some of our colleagues from the SAFA countries are also joining us so that this program can be replicated in the other countries of SAFA. So that, overall, I think we can take it across to as many societies, as many countries, as many students as possible everywhere. So because the end of the whole program, our main intention is to cover as many children as possible, to catch them young, so that we hope that they grow up to be more gender neutral citizens of the country, so that they become the best and we won't have to see this violence against women. So that is the main idea of this program. And all for joining us, and thank you all the team and the master trainers already trained for partnering with us, so that we have already covered more than 200 schools. Now, because of the holidays, there's a little, I think, dilemmas in getting schools, holidays and all. By June, I think there were a lot of queries, and I'm sure that we'll be able to finish more than what we have planned to do in the country. Thank you all. Thank you, Ajay, and the whole team and all the master trainers for joining us today to get trained, because it's you all who will be able to take this message across the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shanta, for those words and briefly talking about Dheera and the entire vision and mission of Dheera and where we want to take it forward. On that happy note, I am delighted to share with each one of you that we have covered 20,000 students till now across the country, and full credit to all the master trainers, all the faculty, and all the back-end team who have made this possible so far. Yes, April, May was a little down because of exams, but we will cross that bridge starting mid of June when the schools reopen. A couple of operational things before we get on with the actual program. First operational thing is the post-test will be given to you in the chat box at the end of the session. Click on the link and submit the same so that you become eligible for your certificate. For all the individuals who have used somebody else's email to join in, please make sure you join in with the correct link with your correct email, because the certificate is issued by the system automatically and we will have no role to play over there and we will not be able to accommodate at that point in time. So my humble request, in case you have not joined in with your email, please do so, log out and log in again with your correct email. Then the other operational bit is that Dheera itself is going to undergo a little bit of change in terms of the operational bit of implementation. This is essentially because the schools have now reopened and most of them are having physical classes. So we may have to change the modality a little bit to facilitate your presence physically should you want to conduct a program physically. The details of the same will be follow up in an email which will be sent to all of you all and the other 500 master trainers who are already on board with this program. So with those words, I will keep butting in from time to time, and all the very best for a fantastic session to each one of you. And we look forward to seeing you more often as faculty as we take it forward, this entire Dheera initiative, not just here in India, but outside India as well. And it is absolutely thanks to Shanta that this has been made possible, including today's master training workshop, because everything was over, there was no budget available, but she made sure that we are able to conduct this program for all who had missed out the first time around. Shriman, could you please, okay, before Shriman, one more thing. Since this is a TOT meant for the school program, many a times you will find during the program, we are referring to you as students, okay? So please do not take offense of it. We know all of your medical practitioners. This is just to give you a demonstration of when we conduct the program for the students, you know, many a times we would be talking to them as students at their level. So a lot of de-learning and learning to come to that level of 9th to 12th standard students, because we had done our schooling several decades back. So we need to come down to that level. So please be there with us if we are talking to you in those terms. And please feel free to use the chat box as much as possible. And we will be trying to answer all that you have for us. With that, Shriman, could you please start the session with playing the video, please?
Dear friends, Foxians, and the women of my country, I am Dr. Shanta Kumari, President of the Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecological Societies of India. As a doctor, I have observed very closely against society and the enormous impact it has on the health of our women. My theme for the year as the President Foxy is Foxy for all always, and Dheera, stop violence against women.
Dr. Shanta Kumari, who has relentlessly campaigned for the issues of girl child. I was happy to be the ambassador of Foxy Figure Ox in 2030, and I hope that me being an ambassador has motivated a lot of girls and many families.
Violence against women is a serious human rights violation, leading to injury and sometimes even death. Unfortunately, 1 in 3 women experience some sort of physical violence during their lifetime. Violence in pregnancy is also widely prevalent, leading to unwanted pregnancies, unsafe abortions, neglected pregnancies with no antenatal care, all these contributing to maternal morbidity and near miss. As obstetricians and gynecologists, we have a great opportunity to assess and support women who experience violence, because of the unique opportunity where we get to see them during the pregnancy, during the family planning visits, during their annual checkups, and multiple other times when they come to us. I strongly believe that by eliminating the violence against women, we are not only reaching the SDG goals, but also creates a just and equal society for our women. Until we make men and boys active partners, we can never end the violence against women. In an endeavor to sensitize our own fraternity,
my initiative of Dheera was started to eliminate violence against women.
I completely support her vision and mission as President Foxy, and also especially support her campaign, Dheera, Stop Violence Against Women.
It was in 2016 at the launch of Dheera. We brought together the police, the obstetrician gynecologists, the National Commission for Women, the women and men on one single platform to wear orange and say no to violence against women. We organized the public forum and cyclothon to launch Dheera. In 2017 at the Foxy Figo Congress, we partnered with men and organized the bikeathon and the flash mob. The high point of Dheera was at the International Figo Congress at Rio, Brazil in 2018. The declaration on no to violence against women was signed with Figo and WHO. It was here global societies pledged their support to end this violence against women. The Dheera campaign and march at the World Congress of Figo in Rio in 2018 got wide international publicity. No change is possible unless the young minds adopt it and make it a part of their life. Young minds are open and creative. They accept change. Foxy has always worked with adolescents for their health and well-being. Dheera this year adds a new page. I'm happy to share with you all that we are launching the Dheera online school certification course across the length and breadth of our country in all the schools. Foxy for all always. Dheera, stop violence against women.
Yeah, thank you, Shriman, for that. We get into the session directly. We have 4 distinguished faculty here who have been part of entire Dheera initiative from the start, and who have been part and parcel of designing, developing, and implementing the curriculum that we are going to expose to each one of you over here. And to start the entire proceeding, I'll request Aruna to please walk us through the first module of the entire program. And the program, that way it has been structured is, we talk about what is VOW, what are the various types of VOW, management of VOW, and then we move into peer pressure, role of bystanders, and what is it that one can do in order to overcome this menace and bring a more gender neutral society in our country going forward. I know it will take a lot of years, but the process has begun, and we are but a small piece of the jigsaw puzzle into this entire picture of Dheera as we move forward. So over to you, Aruna. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I thank President Foxy, Dr. Shanta Kumari, Madam, for giving me this opportunity. And Ajay, sir, thank you so much for doing the excellent job in Dheera initiative. You are taking it forwards into the society so well, educating and enlightening students, obstetricians and gynecologists, and teachers also. Thank you so much. I extend my warm welcome to you all to participate in this Dheera TOT. And let us all take this program forwards and covering most of the obstetrics gynecologists, students, and teachers also. Thank you so much. And let's start the first module. Shriman, can you share the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
To tell you one fact, 2013, the campaign on Save the Girl Child started by Dr. Shanta Kumari Madam. And the girl says, invest in me, I'm the future. And later on, in 2016, there was Dheera initiative. So what exactly is Dheera? What is violence against women? How does Dheera play into it? Let us see. Next. What is the agenda today? The first topic is what is Dheera, what is war. And the second topic is types of war. And the third one is management of war. There'll be introduction, role of bystanders, bridging the gender gap. And the fourth one is peer pressure. Next. Sriman. Yeah. So you have finished the registration, you have to do the pre-test, and post-test is very, very important, and the feedback. Then only you will be having your certificates. Don't leave the connection immediately. You have to do the post-test with the link you get and give the feedback. Next. Sriman, yeah. Now, what is Dheera? We know Dheera is a Sanskrit word. What is the meaning of Dheera? That means courageous, the power of being together. Yes, hashtag Dheera together. So let's all be courageous in taking this program and to stop violence against women, which is an evil of today. Next. Can you please mute? So coming to the basic fact, not all men practice violence against women, but all women live with the threat of male violence every single day, all over the earth. So this is by Ford Alcabrow. Next. Yeah. Violence against women is a global human rights violation. It's a short-term and long-term physical, economic, and psychological consequences which can affect women. It prevents their full and equal participation in the society, where the women should have the equal right like men. The magnitude of its impact on the society is immeasurable. Conditions created by the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, example including the lockdowns, reduced mobility, heightened isolation, stress, economic uncertainty, loss of jobs, have led to an alarming spike in domestic violence. Next, globally, not only in India, but it has a global impact. Next. Are you aware of or have you seen any women being beaten, threatened, scolded at home, school, neighborhood? Do you think it is right? Can you please interact in the chat box? What is such behavior called? Is there any word to describe it? So can we describe the violence against women in any word? What is it called? What exactly the terminology can be? Next. Yes, ma'am. It is unacceptable. It is not right. So all this where the woman is not happy and she's almost traumatized every minute, every hour in the family by the husband or the family members is called as the domestic violence, and it is also called as violence against women. Next. This is the most shameful human rights violation. It is most widespread, not only in India, but all over the world. It knows no boundaries of geography, culture, race, anything, or the status. As long as it continues, there is a real no progress towards equity, development, and peace. Next. If this continues, actually, there is no growth of the nation also if the equal right is not given to the women in the society. What exactly is war? Violence against women. Forcing a woman to live in a fear, a constant fear. It could be mental, sexual, physical. Next. What are the roots of war? What are the causes of war in this society we should take care of, and how to deal with the major problems? One is toxic masculinity, gender bias, sexism, gender stereotyping, patriarchal society. So these are the root causes of war, and we'll have to tackle all these problems to solve or reduce the violence. Next.
Sriman, what is happening? Is your internet slow or? Sriman, are you there?
Sriman?
Maybe he's having internet issue.
Okay. So the toxic masculinity, where the man, there is a stereotyping, the gender stereotyping, where the man thinks he has got the fixed role, he can dominate a woman because he is the earning member of the family. He should be given more importance. That should never happen. And gender bias, always in the society, there's a fixed role for the woman, fixed role for the man. The man is always dominating because he is the earning member. He wants to have all the rights, the decision making in the family, which should not really happen. So coming to this, the importance given to the male child and the girl child shown by the parents. The man, the woman is asked to cook at home, do the household chores, whereas the man is given good education, good skills, and he will be the earning member. He is given more importance than investing in the girl child. Chappu Sriman? Hello?
Yeah, it seems he's having some internet issue.
Yes.
Aruna, can you play your slides or you want me to help you?
Sir, please help me, sir, because it's the same thing with me. The slides are going very slow.
1 minute, I'll try to share my screen. You stop your screen and share, please.
Yes. Okay. So, as I told you, gender bias. This is preference for males. Girls considered burdens of the family in the society. Feticide and infanticide, we have seen many cases happening. Neglecting the female health issues in the family. So there is definitely sometimes in some families the gender bias, which will have to educate them and create awareness not to have this. Next. Patriarchy, a system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it. Decision making rests with the family, with the male in the family. So even in the society, the higher positions are given to males. The males are preferred, saying that they are better managers, but that's not the issue. So the women also will have the power to hold higher positions and manage the problems properly. Decision making rests with the male in the family. So in the family, the male takes most of the important decisions. Next. As I told you, there is a gender stereotyping where girls should be faithful, emotional, tolerant, and sympathetic, dependent. These are the characters of the women that society gives to the girls. For the boys, they should be competitive, logical, strategic, aggressive, and independent. This should not happen. There should not be any gender stereotyping. Human beings are human beings. It could be male or a female. Next. Sexism, prejudice, stereotyping, discrimination typically against women based on the sex or gender. Can you think of any examples of sexism? Do you want to interact with me in the chat box? Can you think of any examples of sexism? Anita Sabarwal madam says, if a strong woman raises her voice, then she is condemned by all, including women of the family. Yes, ma'am, agreed with you. Alka Pute, household work. Yes. Suchitra Pandit madam. Yeah. Rashmi Kahat says, driving cars. Yes, Ashish Mukhopadhyay sir, it is going, actually, it's moving faster. Driving only by men, yes, it should not be done. So coming to the toxic masculinity, the man always sometimes think, I'm a man, I'm strong, I don't cry, I can control, I'm the boss, I'm the savior. This should not be the thing. There should not be any toxic masculinity. And the equal importance should be given to the women in the society. So mental health is as important as physical health in a woman. It's okay to reach out for help if a woman is in a problem. Your mental health matters. Yes, equal to physical health, mental health of a woman is also equally important. Next. Why doctors for women want to talk about war? Why are gynecologists and obstetricians chosen ones? Because whenever a woman is in some ailment, physical or mental or any emotional problem, they think of us first. And gynecologists are the point of contact who can recognize the changes in the lifestyle. Most of the health problems of women are rooted in violence. So there are many psychosomatic disorders that can cause problems to the woman, and the underlying cause could be violence also. We have to think about that. Serious health problems during pregnancy have roots in violence. Yes, next. So why Dheera? Why are we thinking about Dheera at this time? The campaign founded by Foxy President Dr. S. Shantakumari Madam to stop all this violence against women. Next. So we all have a role to educate the children, school children, the teachers, and other members in the society, other Foxians. We are going to train the Foxians also, and the teachers also. The WOW campaign, All India initiative, is to sensitize, orient, train all the obstetricians and gynecologists, and 5 lakh boys and girls, 9th to 12th grade, and 15,000 teachers. Next. Yes, we are almost half the way through. There are many programs, CMEs, webinars, physical programs that are being done under the project of Dheera. So Dheera, we gynecologists care, stand up and support women. First of all, we have to say, teach your son to respect women. He is waiting, he is watching, he will listen. So sensitizing boys at that age group will definitely have a role, and they will definitely respect women. Next. So let's all be courageous, be together, say no to violence against women, #Dheera together. Let's all tweet together, building your voice. Our target is 1 lakh plus tweets. So add your courageous voice to this concept of Dheera. Next. So again, I remind you, registration, pre-test, post-test, and feedback is very, very important to get your certificate. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aruna, for that wonderful talk. Apologies, everyone else, for a little bit of hiccup on the internet issue, but I can see Sriman is back. And with that, we move on to the next two interesting topics, which Lakshmi will be walking us through and talking about the same. Thank you so much.
So after listening to what is WOW, I am covering two presentations for you all. That is the types of violence against women and the management of violence against women. So let us first see what are the types of violence against women. It need not be always a physical violence. It includes physical, psychological, and combination of both physical and psychological violence. The examples of physical violence are, just to name a few: acid attacks, honor killings, femicide. I will tell you what exactly we mean by femicide, sexual violence. These are just few examples. The list is endless. The forms of psychological violence, again, few examples are financial manipulation, emotional abuse, bullying, stalking, eve teasing, criminal intimidation, and the combination of both The example I can give you all is domestic violence. So again, Aruna has already highlighted the importance of post-test and feedback, because without completing these formalities, you will not be getting your certificates. So let's come to the details of physical violence. First is acid attack. What do we mean by acid attack? It is a kind of assault which involves throwing a corrosive substance onto another, and sometimes this is used as a form of blackmail. We all are very well versed with this famous case of Miss Lakshmi Agrawal, where when she was just 15 years of age, she was subjected to acid attack by an older man of 32 years of age when she rejected his romantic advances. And for the more details of her inspiring story, you all can watch the movie Chapak. So when you see these kind of acid attacks, what can you do? If the attack is threatened or attempted, then report it to trusted adult and or police. Make sure to stay away from the person who is threatening. Always encourage young girls, and including we all females, that we should avoid traveling alone. We should be in groups. And remember that under section 326B IPC, this is a punishable offense. If attacked, the victim has to report this attack to the doctor, and she has to make sure that she gets treatment as soon as possible. She also has to attach this report to an adult. That adult can be parent, teacher, police, or anybody. She has trust in that person, and make sure she stays away from perpetrator of that crime. She has to report this attack to the authorities. As I already said, this is a punishable offense, and if it is not reported, the perpetrator will go scot-free. Now let us come to another form of physical violence, that is honor killing, which is very, very rampant in northern part of our India. And this consists of murder of an individual, either an outsider or a member of a family. And this is done in the name to protect the reputation of the family, that is the honor of the family. अगर लड़की कहीं दूसरे कास्ट में शादी करती है तो लड़की ने नाक कटा दी है, इसलिए घर की इज्जत बचाने के लिए उस लड़की का मर्डर कर दिया जाता है. So this is still rampant in 21st century. Now, what is femicide? Femicide is a gender-based crime. It arises when society prefers males over females, and we all are gynecologists. We know that this is still prevalent in our Indian mindset. And this femicide can take the form of woman-based hate crimes, infanticide. Again, this does happens even in 21st century in Rajasthan district. This can also take a form of feticide. Sexual assault is another kind of physical violence where a man sexually touches a woman or compels her to get naked forcefully without her consent. This is again a punishable offense. This causes long-term mental trauma to the victim. And if you see sexual assault taking place, be an active bystander, which another speaker will be covering in detail. What do we mean by active bystander? Try to stop it or call for help. In some or the other way, try to help the victim. Nirbhaya Act 2013 and Section 375 IPC protects women against any kind of rape. Again, the definition of rape, I encourage you all to go to Google and read. It includes so many subsections of the unwanted touch, which is included in the definition of rape. And POCSO Act, again, please go through it, read it in detail, and this act protects minors from sexual abuse. If you are a survivor of any kind of sexual assault, first and foremost, do not shame yourself, because you are not to be blamed for this sexual assault. Don't take a bath, wash yourself, don't change your clothes, write down what happened. I know it's very traumatic, but she has to remember and she has to tell her story to the authorities. She has to inform the police, report in a timely manner so that there is evidence, because without evidence, the perpetrator cannot be punished. Don't be afraid to speak up, as you are never at fault and an abuser is bound to repeat the actions. Now, let us move from physical violence to psychological violence. The few examples are, first and foremost is financial manipulation, and this involves making or attempting to make a person financially dependent on you by maintaining total control over her income, withholding her own access to her own money, and or forbidding her attending schools or her workplace. So this is a case study. I'm so happy to see that the audience is very, very interactive. So I again encourage you to keep interacting throughout this 2-hour session. And this case study is again for you all to interact. The Raj, he monitors his wife Ananya's bank account and does not let her buy what she wants. Even Raj's parents, they have full control over her earning. So what do you think Ananya should do in this situation? Kindly post your responses in the chat box. The another form of psychological violence, which is very, very rampant and it goes unnoticed and it is just tip of an iceberg, is emotional abuse. And what is emotional abuse? It is undermining a person's sense of self-worth through constant criticism. And the most common examples of this emotional abuse are name calling, damaging partner's relationship with the children, not letting your partner see friends or family. This is again a case study for you all to interact in the chat box. Shreya is married to Ashok, whose colleagues, they mock him because he is earning less as compared to his wife. Feeling hurt over his pride, Ashok takes out his frustration by drinking more often, frequent rage behavior, tantrums by breaking things, yelling, blackmailing, and threatening her to divorce her. This constant fault-finding behavior of Ashok definitely takes a toll on the mental health of Shreya. So what can Shreya do? So again, type your answer in the chat box and let's interact on what should Shreya do in this situation. Another form of psychological violence is bullying, and this is continuous harassment, either verbal or physical, and in this 21st century, cyberbullying is also very, very common. So again, there is a case example for you on the subject of bullying. Neil, who is a senior to Ria rejects him, he feels embarrassed, and to bandage his pride, he starts up a rumor that Ria is a slut. He starts to harass her every day, he starts following her, he starts calling her names, fat, ugly, and he throws eggs at her house, and he encourages his friends also to harass her. So now, when you see this taking place, what do you do? Do you help Ria? And whom do you contact? So post your responses in the chat box. Let's come to the cyberbullying. This is an online form of bullying and abuse. When technology is used to write aggressive, embarrassing, or hateful messages to or about peers in order to intimidate, harass, shame, and control. And this includes threatening or abusive text messages, creation of embarrassing images or videos, sharing them, creating fake accounts, stealing online identities, sharing sexually explicit messages. So did you know that females are twice more likely to be victims of cyberbullying? This on this other side of the slide again gives you some detailed examples of cyberbullying. It can be in the form of exclusion, where this is an act of deliberately excluding someone from an online group so that that person feels rejected. Gossiping, that damaging a person's reputation or relationship with family or friends by doing some negative gossiping online. Frapping, what do I mean by frapping? It is impersonating a person by logging into someone else's social networking account. Harassment is when constant and intentional posting or sending of offensive and threatening messages are done. Outing and trickery is when act of tricking someone into revealing your personal information, which is then shared publicly to intimidate him or her, to humiliate him or her. Cyber stalking also is common, more frequent with the adolescents. This is harassing online by posting or sending unwanted or intimidating messages, including real threats on safety. And of course, fake profiles are created to hide their real identity, and we all have read such cases where fake profiles are created and adolescents, they do get trapped into those fake account profiles. So what you can do, if you are, pardon? If you are being cyber bullied, first the check platforms anti-bullying policy. So whenever you are taking this for your school children, tell them that before accepting the policies, the terms and conditions of any platform, they have to read each and every word of the terms and condition, what is their privacy policy, and if they don't understand, they should get in contact with the customer service representative. Then only they should accept the terms and condition of that platform. Whenever they are bullied, cyber bullied, they have to make sure to collect screenshots. Most of the times it does happen that these teenagers or adolescents, they feel guilty, they feel embarrassed, and they just delete those screenshots of the cyber bullying. But if they have not preserved those shots, they just cannot complain, and the perpetrator again will go scot-free. So before deleting, they have to collect the screenshot. They have to file a criminal complaint. Now this complaint filing has been made very, very easy. Most of the cities have got cyber investigation cell. Our Nagpur city is one of them. Every person can report online. There is no need to go physically to that cyber cell and to report the crime. Person can do it online. If you are unable to do it online, then you can lodge FIR or you can reach out to the police station. Most of the police stations, they are having now SHE teams, and these SHE teams, they go out of way to help these adolescent girls who are being cyber bullied. What is stalking? It is when an individual follows a woman and repeatedly tries to contact her without her consent. And remember, this stalking can occur digitally also. This is a punishable offense. This is a case study for you all to respond. Sanjay, who is 17 years of age, starts to follow Meera, who is also 17 years. He starts following her everywhere, wherever she is going. He has learned her everyday routine. He takes pictures of her without her consent. He joins her tuitions. He encourages his friends also to harass this Meera, and these friends, they also boost up his pride by comparing him to popular heroes which are played in the Bollywood movies. Meera starts to feel uncomfortable. What can she do next? So write your responses in the chat box. What should Meera do in this situation? What is voyeurism? This is watching or and taking pictures of women without consent and without the knowledge of the woman. बहुत सारे movies में दिखा रहे हैं women bathroom में है, she is taking a bath and someone is just peeping from the doorknob or from the window. So this is an example of voyeurism. This is also a punishable offense, and after doing it repeatedly, the abuser can be imprisoned for 3 to 7 years. Eve teasing is obscene actions. Ajay, somebody is doing this annotation. Hello?
Manisha Pandey, can I request you to please stop doodling? You have messed up the entire slide by your doodling. Manisha Pandey, can I request you to please stop doodling?
Obscene actions like unwanted remarks, sexual advances by a man to insult a woman in public place is euphemism. And we all know that this is very, very common. कोई भी public place हो, bus station हो, railway station हो, crowded place हो, park हो, cinema halls हो, eve teasing is still common. Remember, eve teasing is also a punishable offense. What is criminal intimidation? It is when someone is threatening to cause death or to hurt you grievously or to destroy your property. This is criminal intimidation, and remember, this is also a punishable offense.
Lakshmi madam, can you stop share and start share the screen again, madam? Then everything will go off.
Sexual harassment. This is unwelcome sexual advances. The request for sexual favors for any kind of work, sexual remarks, showing pornography without her consent, all these constitutes as sexual harassment. This can be reported under section 354A IPC, and this is punishable up to 3 years of imprisonment. So this is again a case study for you all to interact. The unseasonal rain has caused a farmer to lose a considerable amount of crop that he was unable to sell. To make ends meet, he takes a loan from the village loan shark called as Raghu. After a few months, unable to pay his loan back, his daughter offers to help to settle her father's debt by working for this loan shark. Taking advantage of their desperation, their miserable financial condition, the Raghu starts sexually harassing this girl. So if you saw this happening, what could you do? So please post your responses in the chat box. Now the combination of both physical and psychological violence is domestic violence. And friends, remember, this is just not having a violence between a married couple. It is any kind of violence or any pattern of behavior which is used to gain or maintain power or control over another partner comes under the category of domestic violence. And here the main issues is that most victims of domestic violence, they do not know that they are being getting abused. They take it as a normal. ये तो होता ही है, हर घर में होता है. पति ने थोड़ा सा मार दिया, धक्का दे दिया, तो normal है. It is hard to believe that a trusted partner could be manipulative, and there can be harassment from the in-laws, and this harassment also comes under domestic violence. So the examples of this vow are many. I have given you examples in my previous slides. This is basically done to gain power and to control the opposite partner. But what is very peculiar, which we all have to highlight when we are taking classes for school children, is the cycle of abuse. What happens most of the time when the violence happens, that person goes into remorse, he apologizes, and he creates all sorts of behavior to convince the victim that he is really sorry for his behavior. The victim gets convinced and the honeymoon period starts, where she forgives and they start living a normal life. But whenever again there is any trigger in their life, again there is any tension, or again if his ego is hurt, then this cycle of abuse starts. He again starts getting physically violent or psychologically violent, and this cycle goes on and on. Because again, after committing the violence second time, he will again ask for the apology so that the victim forgives and they can start a normal life. So somewhere this cycle has to be broken. So emphasize that ऐसा नहीं है कि एक बार उसने apology मांग ली तो वो अच्छा इंसान हो गया है. So they have to be very alert that cycle of abuse is the norm usually in cases of physical, psychological and domestic violence. This Domestic Violence Act 2005 covers physical, sexual, verbal and economic abuse. It grants immediate protection to the victim and it punishes the abuser with imprisonment up to 3 years. So our Foxy president, Shanta, I must say that she rocks. Her vision and mission to end WOW is really commendable, because for ending WOW, we have to take one step at a time. And I will say that Dheera is a leap forward towards that direction. Again, I will highlight that post-test and feedback completion is very, very important, because you have to earn your certificate. Without completing these formalities, you will not get certificate into your email. And as Aruna has already said, let's tweet together. Let's have a collective voice to end violence against women. So after I finish my management of WOW, we all would like to interact with you all on these first 3 presentations. So after knowing what is WOW,
yeah, while Lakshmi is getting on the third presentation, I just need to point out 3 very, very critical things in this entire presentation. And it is, not just to do with the content, which I feel has been fantastic, but the delivery of it. So there are 3 points that I want to make. One is the voice modulation. As faculty, I'm sure each one of you has your own style and would be doing it. If you can factor in a bit of voice modulation, which has been aptly demonstrated by Lakshmi, it will really be helpful in enforcing the points. The second thing is language. As you can see, everything is in English. It would really help if an language appropriate translation is also done by you simultaneously, if required, if you're doing the program for, say, for example, in a public school in, say, Karnataka or Andhra or Telangana, Telugu or Kannada or, Tamil or, something of that sort. Your own flavor to it will really add value to it. And the last thing that I take home for me, Lakshmi, for your presentation is the examples that you have given. Not just the examples in what is given on the slide, but you have also added some flavor to this entire presentation by bringing in some of your own examples and bringing that to the table. Thank you so much, Lakshmi. Please continue.
Yeah, very well taken your point, Sajay. Now, friends, I am covering the presentation on WOW. What are the management strategies? So first, before going to the management strategy, we should know what are the factors that contribute to WOW. And these factors are like this tree. On the top, you all can see alcoholism, superiority complex, the lack of compassion, troubled childhood, stress, drugs, anger issues. But if you see the root cause for all kinds of violence against women is basically our mindset, the Indian mindset, that is towards social discrimination and gender bias. So this is the root cause for violence against women, because it is in our mindset and it is nurtured since our childhood. It is nurtured because the way we bring up a child, this gender discrimination, it goes on in the mindset of a boy that, okay, I am superior, and the girl, no, I am inferior. I have to be docile. So this is how we are bringing up our children, so that the roots are created when they are young, and we only are creating the gender discrimination and gender bias since childhood in the mindset of this generation. So what to do if you know that someone is being abused? First and foremost, don't be afraid. Listen to the victim's story. Reassure them to stay brave. Believe their story. Do not start blaming the victim. Here I say, स्त्री ही स्त्री की शत्रु है, क्योंकि जब भी हम किसी को देखते हैं तो हम उसको जज करना शुरू कर देते हैं. We all become judgmental. इसी ने ऐसा किया होगा, इसी ने छोटे कपड़े पहने थे, यही रात को अकेले गई थी, ये क्यों गई थी, रात को पार्टी में नहीं जाना था, so on and so on. We start blaming the victim, being doctors and being so highly educated also. We also do the same thing. So do not blame the victim. Keep an eye on the situation to make it sure that it is not getting too dangerous for the victim. Ask the victim about her immediate plans. Report this to a higher authority, and this higher authority can be a teacher, a parent, or a police. Remember, friends, don't impose yourself on the victim. You can only guide her. You have to respect her decision. Have resources to keep conversation going on, and be careful that any actions taken do not harm you or the victim. So your safety first. Consider your safety and the victim's safety and take appropriate decisions. What to do if you are being abused? I have already explained you the cycle of abuse. So recognize the toxic behavior of the cycle of abuse. Protect yourself by leaving from the vicinity of the abuser. Avoid escalating situations. कई बार होता है, उसने एक बोला हम दो बोलते हैं, उसने एक बोला हम और ज्यादा का बोलते हैं. And this verbal conversation, it keeps escalating the situations. Don't do that. Report the incident. Keep evidence of the abuse by recording and photographing. Plan a safety kit in case you have to leave your home in a hurry, and let someone know that you are getting abused, and this someone can be your friend, neighbor, your doctor, police officer. Because unless and until you speak up, how anyone will come to know that you are having problems, you are getting abused, what kind of abuse? So please speak up, confide in your friend or a trusted adult about your sufferings and about your abuse. Because don't let abuser to rob you of your voice. Claiming your voice back, I know, is really difficult because you are under trauma, but believe me, your words have power. Speaking up is the first step, friends, to end violence against women. Because most of the times, either out of shame, out of embarrassment, or out of their upbringing, which tells them to be docile, they just don't speak up. They just let things go by. हाँ होता ही है, चलता ही है, हो गया तो क्या हो गया? Don't. Speak up. Take a stand. Because your abuser is afraid of your voice. Just speak up. Tell that abuser, okay, this is not right. If you do it again, I will report it to higher authorities. Just speak up so that abuser does not take it for granted that your silence is not a consent for further aggregation or further violence. Don't let down another generation of victims. Give the victim a platform to speak. Believe the victim. This I am re-emphasizing again, that please believe the victim. Don't blame the victim. Stand up for justice. Don't let people forget that once someone commits abuse, they are prone to doing it again and again. That is what we mean by cycle of abuse. And this we have to emphasize कि एक बार माफी मांग ली यानी अच्छा हो गया, ऐसा नहीं है. You have to be alert to see that whether this cycle of abuse continues. These are some safety tips which everyone can download. Smart Shahar Women Safety Shield Protection with you, Scream Alarm, Suspects Registry, Be Safe, Abhaya app is there for legal advice. And friends, I know we all are gynecologists, we are traveling so much for the conferences. So whenever, even I am traveling alone, I am taking a taxi from airport to the conference venue. So what precaution you all should take? First and foremost, see to it that your phone is fully charged. नहीं तो टाइम पे फोन डिस्चार्ज हो गया है and you are helpless. Second, when you are sitting in a taxi, see to it that your live location is on. Third, what I do, whenever I am sitting in a taxi, whether Ola, Uber or whatever taxi, or even by any company people, I just tell that driver to stand in front of his number plate. I tell that driver to look at me. I take a picture of the driver's face, his taxi, kaun sa model hai, and the number plate ka number. And this I share it with my husband because he is constantly tracking me, as naturally he is concerned about my safety. You can share it with anyone who is concerned about your safety. This is a very, very important step. because the driver knows that his face, his taxi details you have already shared with someone. Then even if he is doing something notorious and you are all alone in a taxi in a night, please don't be scared. Even if your phone is fully discharged, just phone kaan se lagao and start talking as if you are talking to your husband, your children or whatever, and start explaining your live location. Even if your phone is dead, driver doesn't know that your battery is discharged. Explain, भैया कहाँ पहुंचे? अच्छा यहाँ पहुंचे, कितने देर में वहां पहुंचेंगे? Just go on conversing, and it is a deterrent for the driver, because he knows that you are constantly talking to someone and someone is tracking your live location. So friends, हमारी safety अपने हाथ में है. Take all these basic precautions, and I will say that first you activate your location map, rather doing it in case of emergency. Your live location should be on whenever you are traveling alone. This is the distress signal, that is the help sign, which we all must know. This video is showing you.
Tap the thumb with the remaining fingers.
Now you all have seen this distress sign. So if the victim is having any problem, they will show you this distress sign. But what I want we all doctors to know is what we should do if we see this distress signal. If our patient in the OPD is showing us this distress signal, what should we do? Check it with the person's safety first. Find out what they need and what you can do. Again, your safety first. If you find a threat of danger, call the local police and the helplines mentioned later. So we should know if we are in distress, this is the distress signal. We should also know if we see this distress signal, what is our role and in what way we can help the victim who is showing us this distress signal. These are various helpline numbers. You all can take a screenshot of this slide. Again, apart from the national helpline number, which is 1098, every city has got the local helpline numbers. There are NGOs who are very, very active in that particular city. So have the contact details of all these people who can come to your rescue in emergency. The reporting process should be understood by each and everyone, that you have to report the incident to local police or a special police unit. You have to record the statement with the police within 24 hours of the incident. Go to hospital or shelter home for a medical examination by a female doctor. Record statement in front of magistrate, and it is binding on the special court to complete the trial within 1 year. So friends, now we have covered in great detail what is vow, what are the types of vow, and what can we all do. I know it's a very, very vast topic, but just few examples of in what way we can contribute towards management of violence against women. So let us contribute in an active way. Again, post-test and feedback is very, very important. Let us all be courageous. Let us add our voice. Let's tweet together to reach out to our target of 1 lakh plus tweets. Add your courageous voice to Dheera. So thank you, friends. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. Now we are open for discussion on the first 3 topics from all of you.
Dr. Lakshmi, can you show the previous slide of helpline numbers?
Yeah, Ajay will be sharing this PPT with you all once you finish this training session.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent talk, Lakshmi. Fantastic. There were a couple of things which I wanted to address before anybody else pitches in with your questions or interaction. See, the way it is structured, we have three sessions first, followed by a little bit of interaction where you can encourage the students to come up and speak. And if anybody is confident to share an example, which you can comment on or which you can, appreciate and empathize with it, not sympathize, which is very important for us to take forward. Encourage the students, especially the boys. You can pointedly ask, boys in the classroom, please, can you come up and speak? If it's a co-ed education, and if it's just the girls' school, then also the girls can be encouraged, because they kind of have seen or faced something like this in their households, and they think it is normal. Trust me, we have done 20,000 students till now, and there have been many girls who have come forward and talked about this entire thing.
Yes.
That's one. On that note, a huge welcome to Rubina. I'm really happy
Where
that
is
you could
Rubina?
join us today. Yes, I don't know, she's there. I can't see her on my
I also can't see.
Yeah, but a huge
She
welcome.
sent a message in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, and yes, the entire slide deck will be available to you in Pakistan and also for the other SAFOG members. If there are any other SAFOG members, AFOG members who have joined in, we will send these slide decks to you. We will, however, have to work together to contextualize some of the aspects related to your country, specifically the numbers which one can reach out for making sure the local population is aware of it. One of you had posted, can we get the slides in Hindi? At this point in time, we are not looking at any kind of language translations. The language translations, if any, has to be done while you are talking and making it more personalized for the students who are going to be sitting in the meeting and the training program for you. Manpreet, you mentioned two aspects of this entire in the chat box, and I agree with you that we need to involve somebody else other than the abuser, so that you have a collective voice to take that abuser on. And the last bit which you mentioned, that when you go to the hinterlands, you go to the villages and small places, there are things where the police may not be supporting you. Yes and no, because sometimes they would support you, sometimes they may not support you, and that is something which we have to live with. And we are hopeful when, a few years down the line, with the collective voice that we are trying to raise over here, we will be able to change that scenario. It is already changing, but we have miles to go. And I think this Dheera step is in the right direction to move it forward. We'll open
Ajay, can I?
Yeah, 1 minute. We'll leave the forum to you now, and we'll request the other faculty members also to join in and do respond to whatever you feel.
Ajay, I have one problem.
Yes,
I have seen.
Good to see you in the car. Yes. Yes, go on, please. Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to mention, once my domestic help, she was getting abused by her husband who would get drunk and hit her. And I took her to the police station. We put down all the complaints. And when they caught hold of that man and they brought him in front of her, the police said, okay, he told that lady, you give it in writing, that is this, husband abusing you. And she didn't write it on the paper. And I told her, I said, why don't you write it? Look at all the marks. She said, I just fell down. So, many a times you want to support, but then the women just back out. And then the reason she said is, even if I say yes to him right now, 2 days later, they'll keep lock up, and 2 days later, he'll come back and he'll start doing the same thing again. It's a vicious circle. How do you really stop this?
The Suchitra, that is what I am saying. Our Foxy president has taken one step, and the basic solution is women empowerment. Why she backed out? Because she is feeling कि मेरा क्या होगा, मैं इसको छोड़ दूंगी, मैं कहाँ रहूंगी, मेरे को घर नहीं है, मैं कैसे कमाऊंगी, अगर बच्चे हैं तो मेरे बच्चे कौन देखेगा. I mean, these are the issues. The women back out and they don't go to the police station, or even if you are supporting, as you said, she is not ready to file a complaint. So the real issue is women empowerment, and we all have to work for women empowerment.
Ma'am, one more thing is, in the slides by Lakshmi Madam, and later also it keeps coming repeatedly, don't stop victim blaming. This is an appeal to the society. And the moment, the day society stops this blaming the victim, I think that would be the step. And one more thing, even empowered women sometimes don't like to leave husband's home because they are judged very harshly by the society.
Yes.
And they are stigmatized.
Yes.
So many things are there. So this appeal goes to children, to the women, and as well as to the society also.
Ma'am, may I share something?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, I'm Dr. Manpreet Kaur from Bijapur, Karnataka. My next door neighbors, we used to be disturbed, maybe once or twice a week by loud sounds of fighting coming from their household between the husband and the wife. And one day I decided that it is too much because, as you said, now we are women, and it's very difficult for us to even hear things which are where a person is being abusive to another woman. So I went to their house, and the woman is actually a bank manager, and the husband was unemployed in this case. And so I just talked to the lady and I requested the husband that this is not the right way to do things. And, it disturbs the peace of the whole neighborhood and all. And I think just because the husband got to know that there is a person in the neighborhood who knows what is happening in our household, he got a little scared, and the things, de-escalated over the time. And, now I think past 2 months, we haven't heard any loud noises from their house, which is a big relief also. And I feel a step forward, as Madam said, Lakshmi ma'am said, that this is one step forward. And I think small steps like this by individuals like any one of us can make a big difference in the long run.
वो एक था ना, बेल बजाओ. If you hear somebody fighting in your neighborhood, just go and trigger, means ring the bell so that it diverts the mind. So ऐसे बहुत सारे issues है. That is what I am saying. We have to step violence against women step by step, and this is, I will say, a leaping forward step by our Foxy president. Issues are so many. I mean, really, we can't sort it out all the issues, but let us contribute in whatever way we can. Like you contributed successfully, Suchitra did tried her level best, but as we all know, we all are privileged women, to be very frank, but our kids are not, and that is the reason they don't come forward. So I mean, depending on the individual situation and circumstances, considering our safety first, yes, we should go out all out, and we should try to help them out.
Ma'am, when we talk to children, ma'am, when we talk to children, ma'am, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, when we talk to children or when we teach them, should we teach them to shout for help and retaliate or physically hit back the boy or somebody who's harming them? Like it happened with my own daughter. She travels to school in a bus. She is pre-pubertal, 12 or 13 years old. One day, one boy, he elbowed her. The other day, he touched her slightly inappropriately, though she very innocently came and told me. Then the third day, he was playing with a water bottle and it threw water on her, pointedly at her. So I, being a Punjabi, I taught her a few Punjabi abuses. I told her, go give him a gali. And my daughter learns karate. I said, you hit him back. But then I realized that is not the way. So how do we deal with such a situation?
That will be covered in the presentation on peer pressure group. Just wait. There is a detailed presentation on how to handle the peer pressure.
Yes, exactly.
At that point, there's only one adult with the children. They are all the same age group.
You will get your answer after that presentation is over.
Madam, can I say something? Madam, can I say something?
That Rashmi, you are the last one because you have to get
Thank you very much, sir. So when it comes to adolescent peer pressure and sexual harassment, live stalking and following a girl, usually the boy who stalks and follows the girl also comes from the same age group. So the important point in my opinion is that the girl should shout and call for help, because the boy is already afraid. He is not, as such, he is not very grown-up man. He is not very confident. He's already afraid. And in the same age group. So as soon as the girl shouts and speaks and calls out for help, the boy gets a little depressed. He gets afraid, and I think that can solve the problem.
Many strategies, many situations, I think, depending on the situation. These are all the directions and situations that we can improvise and we can tell.
We are having very important presentations lined up. Peer pressure, bystander. Just wait, and your queries will be resolved. Yeah.
And we'll come back to more questions or
we should go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we should go ahead.
Alka will continue in the next part. Thank you.
Shall I?
Kiranmai, you're on.
Yes,
she
sir.
has been one of the biggest champions, and we are so delighted to see you once again.
Thank you, sir. So you are able to see my slide?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. So Aruna has set the tone, Ajay sir, and then Shanta madam, and then Dr. Lakshmi madam has excellently covered the very important two topics, that is management aspects especially. Now there were some issues of what the girl should do when she is subjected to this abuse. Should she act directly or she should enlist some support and help? So this, the right from this module, I think it is an indirect module of focusing on the other members of the society. For example, in a class, it would be mostly boys and other girls to take up some responsibility to change their mindset, to examine themselves, so that this part is very important in shaping their future, future adults, how and what they become. So this is a very small presentation, but generally students like this presentation because it gives 5 simple active steps on how to be active bystanders. So again, interaction would be good to ask in this session too, like in previous sessions. And you can tell that there are 5 Ds in this presentation. At the end of the presentation, all of you should put it in the chat box. What are all the 5 Ds? That makes them little alert and they'll look out for what are all the 5 Ds are. So pre-test and post-test are most important because this is an international certification course and very, very important. Unless the pre-test and post-test are completed and registration, you have to stress this upon in each presentation. So who is a bystander? I mean, you can take a regional language translation of a bystander. Generally, I tell in Telugu, the one who stands on the road, like who is Darina Poyevadu, or who is going on the road. So, and I also put a question that who are more in number? Is it the abusers more in number, perpetrators more in number, or bystanders? Generally, children answer in chorus that bystanders are more in number. Then we ask who can be more powerful? Definitely bystanders, because they are more in number, they can be more powerful. So that sets the tone for the role of these bystanders. Then we go to the definition: an individual who observes an act of violence, discrimination, or other problematic behavior, but are not the direct perpetrators. So generally, we start with the example of an accident. Generally, when an accident happens, many of the bystanders, they surround that accident place, they see what is happening. But most of the times, especially in the previous times, nobody used to help the accident victim for the same fear of landing in legal issues, police issues, and all sorts of things. And we give the example of 108 ambulance, how now it is, everyone calls up this ambulance and helps the victim. So then there are 2 types of bystanders. We say that is, one is passive bystanders who do not act or intervene, and active bystanders who take action and try to stop it. Then we can again question what sort of bystander you would like to be. Again, the answer definitely comes as you want to be an active bystander. Active bystander stands up, speaks, and also acts. Then we ask, why does the passive bystander does not act? Again, lot of answers, very interesting answers come in. Once a girl told me that the parents tell generally, why do you get yourself stuck or get messed up in all these situations? You should not interfere. You should mind. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm getting a phone call. So, okay. So,
Yes, audible.
Yeah. So generally they give lot of answers which are not on the slide. Also, a girl once told me that parents generally prevent them from acting in such situations so that they are safe. And again, social influence, that is, then you are late for work or someone else will help. Why should I help? And all these are the reasons to be passive bystanders. And then the 5 Ds. Then you tell them that these are the 5 Ds, which are the weapons of the active bystanders. Then the first D is distract. Distraction is a subtle and safe way, as we have been discussing in the previous, interaction. I think Dr. Gurpreet told about her daughter's incidents, what she should do or what others should do. So this distract is safe and subtle. The aim is to interrupt and derail the incident. I mean, small tricks like pretending to be lost or asking time or address of a place. Suppose you are seeing a kind of abuser or someone eve teasing a girl, and you're seeing nobody is there and the girl is suffering, then you can just go and ask for time. Or, I don't have a watch or address of this place. I want to go to this place. Do you know the address? And you can say, you can just pretend as if you know that person who is being harassed. You can call with any name or Radha, Rama, or whatever it is, and just act as if you know that person. And you can just talk something irrelevant or as if you are feeling giddy, whatever act you can put up. And this takes the attention of the harasser and gives some time for the victim to just sometimes even safely escape or to attract attention of the surrounding people. That is first D, that is distract. The second is again a kind of similar activity which delays. Again, this delaying can reduce the severity and it can help, because this is the module which we are telling the children. So these are all safer options. Asking the victim if she is okay. You can offer to sit. You can just sit with her for a while. Again, in a bus stop or in any theater or a park, anywhere. You can just stay there and sit with her for a while. And you can offer to accompany her. I'm going that way. You want me to accompany you, or can I just accompany you to that place? This is a place I know. So this is a delaying technique. So second D is delay. Third is delegate. Again, in the interaction discussion had come up how safe it is to act on their own. Again, it same applies to these children who are trying to help. So you just tell them this is very important. Whenever you think that situation is dangerous or adults are involved, you can ask for assistance of a resource or for help from a third party. Like if you are surrounding a shopping complex, the shopkeeper's help can be asked. If it is a bus, co-passenger or bus conductor's help can be asked. And then if you are in school, you can contact teacher for help. So this is delegation, taking help from others, asking their help. This is the third D. Then fourth is the document. So this is done whenever there is someone who already helping the person being harassed. So if there is no one, use the other Ds. If there is someone being harassed, then this is the place where you can safely document. But before documenting, tell them very clearly, assess your own safety. Our final message to the children is don't act where it is, it is risky to your own safety. Always assess your own safety. Only if you are safe, then you go ahead and start recording. So again, this is very, very important and tricky. Once you record, you have to ask the person who was harassed what they want to do with the recording. You are never going to put it on a social media or share with your friends or, circulate it in your groups, because this happens quite a number of times. And you have to very clearly tell you never post it online, because this posting and using image or footage of a person without that person's consent can make the person feel even more worse. That, that kind of visibility, that kind of exposure of the trauma, the person may never want. And what happens generally is, as you can see, pointing fingers at the victim, laughing at her, humiliating, and is publicizing another person's traumatic experience is no way to be an active bystander. Then the fifth one is direct. Actually, this was again time and again asked whether they should directly respond to harassment by naming what is happening or confronting the harasser. I can think of one or two situations, especially when the harasser or the person who is abusing or troubling another person, if they belong to a common group or they are common friends, then maybe as a friend or as a colleague, you can sometimes say directly that this is not right. But when this can be risky, as we have agreed, and because the harasser may redirect their abuse towards you, it may escalate the situation. But whenever you are confronting, be clear, confident, but cautious. And this is the last resort. And especially the golden rule is only intervene if it is safe for you to do so. If not safe, call the police. And these two lines, numbers, children, most of the school children are well versed. 100 is the police helpline or the child helpline, 1098. Just tell it as 1098 or thus now art. That is easy to remember, and most of the children know nowadays. And this helpline works really well. I have tried it. So they act very, very quickly. And you can tell them, ask them to tell more ways about how to get involved, like, taking part in these webinars, being part of the Dheera module itself is an important way of getting involved, like writing stories, essays, then nukkad nataks, and then appreciate someone practicing bystander intervention, and giving your time for organizations. These are all the things the children you can stimulate the children to get involved. And again, every presentation has this important point that victim blaming should never be done. So the wrong things to say, which we hear time and again, even when the girl or the woman has lost life also, we did get hear these sentences like, why did she go at night? Why did she park her scooter there? Why did she go alone? Why did she call her sister instead of 100? All this is nothing but victim blaming. Many prominent people also have done, which should be called out and which should never be done. And with this, I end this module, again reminding of the post-test. And again, as Dr. Shanta told in the beginning, this is, I think, one step together, being courageous together to say no to violence against women, hashtag Dheera together, and raising our voice. So this is nothing but adding our voice to the conversation. Sir, can I go to the next presentation?
Yes, please. Sorry. Yeah, for half a second, I was typing something. Yeah, thank you so much once again, so passionately pursuing what we have been discussing and talking all about. Please carry on to the next one. Thank you so much, Kiran.
Yes, sir. So again, bridging the gender divide. So again, in the interaction in the chat box, there were a few questions whether to take the classes separately or together. The suggestion is to take it together. Let's not hesitate from talking to them together, because it is very important. There is nothing to be, to be shied away from. And there has to be open discussion. Let the boys, girls come openly with their remarks or opinions or arguments, whatever it is, especially in the chat box, or when doing physical, they do come up and talk a lot of things. You'll be surprised. And bridging the gender divide. So this module goes as part of, initially to introduce them to the concept of gender, then how gender leads to gender stereotyping, and gender stereotyping, how it leads to gender bias, and how gender bias is the root cause for the violence. So this slide is just to give an, how genders are socially constructed concepts, and how we can mistake by simple names, like a name as Nirmal. In the South, especially, we think it is a male name like Nayan, Kashish, Nihar, Harsha, Shiva. You can take any other names. You can ask them to suggest any other names, and you can ask them, what do you identify with these names? And then really they tell it is male or female or male or female. And so again, this is another interactive slide where you can ask them to put it in the chat box. You can also put it in the chat box now, because this is a module just as a demonstration, so that you can go ahead with the children. So with how these traits characterize males and females, like active, is it male or female? Considerate, male or female? Aggressive, male or female? You get lot of very typical answers. Then emotional, male or female? Leader, male or female? Mechanical, male or female? So most of the times we know what answers we get. And so we ask that this is nothing but conditioning of the gender stereotypes. They're so ingrained in our culture that they become a habitual response. Even we, after so much of knowing everything, that maybe when we say emotional, we always say maybe females are more emotional. So something like that. And also our media and films reward violent male behavior. Here again, lot of movies you can ask as examples. You can put it in the chat box. Few of the movies which have become box office, Bollywood blockbusters, most of them, depend on this violent male behavior, glorifying this violent male behavior. And parents also try to toughen up the sons, that they have to go out in the world, they have to be tough, and they're soft with daughters, and they think daughters are delicate and they have to be delicate. And parents are also more likely to tolerate violent behavior in boys. Ye bacha hai, ladka hai, or he's a man, he can afford to do this. So that is all conditioning which is going towards, gender stereotyping and toxic masculinity. And whenever girls show aggressive opinions of leadership, always, even us maybe, we think she's acting as a bossy rather than as, as a leader or a responsible person. So stereotypical rules restrict personal choice, they foster sexism and create unequal outcomes. So then we ask, is gender bias a social evil? So what has happened because of the gender bias? So women are oppressed both officially and unofficially. Discrimination starts young, not after they are born, but before they are born. We know most of the families want male children, and then girls are expected to take up household chores in addition to whatever profession they are or whatever career they are choosing. And definitely they're always expected to behave submissively. And we see this in careers when women are expected to leave work to raise kids, take a break, and male babies are preferred absolutely. And workplace discrimination at work causes pregnant women to be fired and or not to be chosen. Some places they do not choose female employees because there is always a possibility of her getting married and getting pregnant and again applying for a maternity leave. And here a massive wage gap between men and women is a reality. And we know no woman is safe from sexual harassment, starting from eve teasing to catcalling. And on one hand, women are called goddesses. We have festivals celebrating the women power, women deities, but even the tiniest of mistakes on their behalf makes them unworthy of being respected. So the reality is women do not want to be treated like goddesses. They want to be treated like humans. All they want is equality. So, and also the absence of the level playing field, because women have started late in this game of life, you can say. Still, there are some countries who still don't give women voting rights, no equal access to education. When it becomes difficult in a family, it is the girl's education which suffers first. And when there is COVID, it is a girl child which gets married first. The child marriages, as you know, in the COVID have increased a lot, especially in Telangana and the old city. All the school going girls, because there was a 2-year gap, they were all married off, and dowry is still prevalent, and women are not given equal opportunities at work. The pay gap is there, and even in a meeting or wherever, decisions of importance are made, one man's voice is heard a lot. It is worth more than that of many women. And financial resources, even when a woman doesn't earn, definitely she is totally dependent. And if a woman earns, even her paycheck and her bank account are mostly in the control of the partner. And in politics and leadership, there is not enough representation for women. The percentage of women who are leaders globally and also in our country. And now with this background, now we ask, what should we do? So do we have to fight with each other? No, all the genders have to work together as allies. And our goal is to create a gender neutral, gender responsive and equal society. And our purpose is to eliminate gender inequality and gender bias. So it is not an issue of one gender. It is all our issue and we have to work together. And now comes the accountability or responsibility or the involvement of the boys. Here from this slide, there are 8 active steps for the boys, because most of the boys or men do not commit violence. It's a known fact. The perpetrators are few, but it is not enough to not commit violence. You must be willing to take 8 active steps to ensure that no other men commit such violence. So first is, sharing the care. It's a fact that women take on 3 times more unpaid care and domestic work than men. And women spend mostly the emotional labor at home with family instead of advancing career and looking after themselves. All their free time is lost in this emotional labor. They take care of the sick, they take care of the food, and they take care of everyone else, the elders, the children. And then you have to appreciate those who help you unconditionally and respect the sacrifices being made for you. And definitely you have to offer to help wherever you can and whenever you can, and which will encourage the women to take up their own interests. This is the first step. And the second step is, holding yourself accountable. And statements like boys will be boys will no longer hold good. Boys will be held accountable if they are doing something wrong. So again, this is to be aware of your own behavior, whether you are saying something wrong or something, which is gender insensitive or something sexist comment, etc. So change yourself when you see the toxicity. And this is very, very important. Again, you can bring in examples of movies or media examples which kind of reinforce this traditional masculinity that man up, don't cry, be strong, a man never cries. So here is, to tell the boys that everyone can be emotional, everyone can be sensible. It is not the alpha male, but the sensible male who has to be fashionable, who has to be made fashionable. So, and again, this slide is the continuation of the previous slide. Men cry, men break down, men can get anxiety, men have emotions, men feel insecure, men get abused, men have mental illnesses. It is not unmanly to struggle. Let's support men, let's encourage men, and don't belittle or silence men. Men struggle too. This aspect is like, to letting out the kind of tough exterior that boys are supposed to maintain, and also to say that everyone will have emotions, everyone can break down, and everyone has to be sensitive. And it is a sensitive man who will change the next generation, because we have seen that the suppressed emotions, suppressed anger, and unresolved conflicts and unresolved issues make men more violent. And that is another root cause of, they exhibiting violence towards others. And again, fourth point is respect others' choices. So don't judge others. Consider the circumstances that make your life different from others, and do not judge or shame them for their choices, whether it is clothes or career or anything. So you always have to respect others' choices, just as you respect your own choice. And consent. Consent will be dealt with in the last module by Jamuna madam. But again, phrases like hasi to fasi. If she smiles, she's loving you. Or if she rejects in the first instance, you have to try again. And if she says no, she's saying yes. Or if she's saying yes, saying no. Nothing of that sort. Clear consent is the word yes, nothing else. She was asking for it. No, there is no behavior which says that, which implies that she was asking for it. So, and boys will be boys is never acceptable, never victim blame. And a consent is like fries. It is freely given. It is reversible. Yes, now can become a no, maybe 2 hours later. And it has to be informed, enthusiastic, and specific for that particular. Like if it is for a coffee, it is specific for that, thing. Or if it is for a movie, it is specific for that thing, whatever it is. So you have to understand, boys have to understand consent, because most of our movies in all the languages blur this. They just, violate this aspect of consent a lot. Then another important thing is calling out sexism and harassment. This is again an example where you can, demonstrate your active bystander role. See, because women experience harassment, women generally speak out or they don't speak out. But calling out such behavior is sometimes maybe difficult for that women or girls, or all the time it is a burden that women have to do this. This is where the boys and men can take up. There is being an active bystander. Do not excuse friends, relatives, or co-workers who are indulging in sexism and harassment. One good opportunity is WhatsApp groups, family groups, your class groups, wherein so many jokes about women, or their driving, their anything, wife jokes, partner jokes. So wherever you see that, please speak out, name it, stop it. That really helps. That really helps. It is my practical experience. If needed, you get out of that group. You don't tolerate that group, but definitely call out. This is one place where definitely boys can contribute. Then again, challenge gender stereotyping. All of us have heard once in our lifetime that women are not good at so and so thing, whether it is driving or whether it is mechanical things, whether it leadership roles. So whenever there's such statements are there, request the boys to challenge these notions. and also question your own stereotyping and prejudices and counter the argument with facts. Yes, my mom drives better than my father. So there is nothing like no, this is not gender dependent. Driving is a skill which is not gender dependent. So many things you can say. And again, most important is believing survivors. So every time a woman, why do women not speak up? Why do women don't come out? Because she's not believed, because she knows that she'll not be believed most of the times. Every time a woman speaks up about her experiences and she's not believed, that is when how this toxic culture flourishes. So when you hear a survivor story, these three steps are very important: listen, believe, and support. Let them repeat after you: listen, believe, and support, and be an ally, that is friend, and offer unconditional support every time you hear any experience of abuse or harassment. So it is up to you, dear friends, to change the dialogue and to change the narrative and to make a gender neutral society. It is nothing like women should do this or men should do that, or women should not do this or men should not do that. We can do anything and be anything. So that should be your take home message. And I end with again one final reminder about registration and post test, and also that you will receive a certificate from Foxy UNICEF. And to raise the voice and to make blend all our steps together so that we reach the goal of a war-free India. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Kiranmai. Your passion is absolutely, infectious. For the last 6 months, we have been seeing it, and now you're also not just passionately working on all of this, but now you're the chair of the committee, which is going to come up, and having won it unopposed is a fantastic achievement. Sure, talks a lot about your commitment to this entire program going forward. On that note, we had the last, last but not the least, and person who is going to talk to us about the last presentation. Jamna, most welcome, and you're on, please. Thank you.
पता नहीं आ रही है कि नहीं भाई.
Oh, Bhagwan. Okay, good evening, all of you, and it was wonderful. I think we'll start as if I'm going to talk to the boys and girls. Good evening, boys and girls. And you have heard all of us about types of work and management, solutions, gender bias, and all that. But the most important is now you all go through this deep peer pressure. So let's see how you can combat with this peer pressure, which is very common in all the schools and in all the geography and in all the social cultural groups. So what the main highlights? Sriman, can you share the slides, please? Yes. Yes. So in the beginning, we were all discussing about how we should, make the children understand how they can take up this peer pressure and all. So our main highlights for today. Next slide, please. The main highlights are, like, first of all, Sriman, next slide. Yes. So we have to identify the toxic environment in which we are there. And then we should know what is good and bad touch. And the concept of consent, which is very, very important. And the power of saying no. And this is the most powerful weapon, I think. The next slide, please. So, Sriman, can you mute? Yeah. So, as all the speakers have said that you have to do post-test and feedback so that you can be awarded a certificate of participation and after completing the registration. Next slide, please. Oh, I must switch off my camera. Is it okay now? Okay. So what is peer pressure? So this peer pressure is which can influence any peer on each other. So to conform to behaviors and the personal habits to a group. And most of the time, this peer pressure is so subtle. It is very difficult to identify and has a ginormous effect. So it is very important that we should be able to find the peer pressure. Now, next slide, please. Now, coming to the types of peer pressures. So we have spoken and unspoken, direct, indirect, negative, and positive. The spoken, of course, openly, they say that, yes, I want you to do this. Or they say that, what, how you're dressed today? This is not the way, this is not the your type of dressing. The unspoken one is, see, you are exposed to a pressure, your behavior, and then you are told that this is the right behavior. And direct is a spot decision, like, you know, if they're smoking, they just pass on that cigarette butt. And without knowing, you also take it and you start smoking. So that is a direct peer pressure. Then indirect, like friends in a group, if friend is overheard that the group doesn't like, you know, dressing or talking to that girl or misbehaving with the girl is okay with it. So all these things will have an effect on this person. If they don't follow, they think that if they don't follow whatever the gossip is going on, they think that they will not be included in that group. So this is an indirect peer pressure. And negative is, of course, the moral code. It's just against that moral code. Like you slap a girl, it's okay. And the positive is, of course, when a peer is influenced by behavior, which is very healthy and responsible. So that is the positive behavior. And I bet that all the kids, they are undergo this peer pressure, and the unspoken and indirect are the ones which are more dangerous, because by the time they realize, I think they are affected by that peer pressure. And it is important.
इधर बारिश नहीं हुआ है
Mute that person.
बाप रे कितना तेज बारिश वहाँ इतना
Someone
मतलब
is
आगे पूरा
complaining about the barish. I don't know who that is. Please, can you mute yourself? And please bring in some barish here for us as well. We are sheltering in 47 degrees. Okay, carry on.
Me too. You know, yes. Next slide, please. So what are the signs of toxic environment? Next slide, please. So your friends make you feel that bad about yourself, that your hairstyle is not suiting you. It's some other hairstyle suits you. Or your friendship should be on their terms. No, you are never sure where you stand, whether you're close to them or you're just a friend. And gossip is a constant about friends. That effort is always from one side, like you are making an effort to be a good friend. No, that's not right. Then they don't respect your boundaries. You say that I don't want to come for the party after 9 because my parents don't like it, but they don't like it. You feel pressure to do things you don't want to do. This is very important. When you don't want to do, you should not get into that pressure, and you should never say yes to that. There is a competition, of course, to be popular in the schools, which is very common. And if it is healthy, it's very good. But to be popular, if you're doing things which are unhealthy and against the morals, then that's not good. You are terrified one mistake would make you leave the group, or your friends will leave you. So that should not be the pressure. Then they encourage your worst traits. Means if you are teasing a girl, then say, oh yes, good, come on, do that. It's a very good sign. No, that's not the right thing. Next slide, please. So how to avoid these uncomfortable situations? That is what you all have to learn. So avoid going out with strangers. And you have to make sure your parents or your siblings are aware that where you are going, and always carry phone with you. And remember, respect your other people's boundaries. If they say that I don't want to take the class, don't force them. And draw boundaries for yourself also. If you don't want to have a drink, then say, no, I don't want. And always be confident to say no. This is the most powerful word I think all of you should learn. To say no to anything you are not comfortable with. And if you feel that there is a danger in the environment, then immediately dial the police number 100. And now you know, all of you children know that the helpline number 1098. Next slide, please. So, next slide. So, we have some trait of boys to be avoided and some trait of girls to avoid. So what are those? The boys who are against feminism. Then boys who are very rude to their mothers. Boys who don't respect your physical boundaries. Boys who pressurize you to send news. Boys who start fights. And boys who use slurs like, then boys who comment on a girl's appearance without her asking for an opinion. And boys who make rape jokes. And there are girls who you should avoid. Girls who think it's unmanly to cry. Girls who hit or slap their boyfriends. And girls who are totally materialistic. And girls who call other girls, then girls who don't respect your physical boundaries. Then girls who call you a girl thinking it's an insult. Then girls who don't think men can be victims of abuse and rape. So you should all learn to differentiate the toxic people is the first step to cleansing the toxicity in the environment. Next slide, please. So what are the boundaries sound like? These are the few examples. So you always should learn to put yourself first and then set boundaries where you are comfortable with. So what are those? When you're calling, I will end this phone if you are feeling uncomfortable. If you continue to shout at me, I can stay for half an hour. Then thank you for your offer. Unfortunately, I can't make it. I'm not comfortable discussing that. Please do not discuss it with me. I need time to think about it. I will come back to you. I don't respond to work emails at the weekend. I'm not comfortable with that. If you do it again, I will have to leave. Respect your opinion about this, but this is my life and my decision. And these are the, some of the boundaries where you can, accept it. Next slide, please. So good touch and bad touch, I think in schools, a lot of programs have been done and they have explained to all the students about what is a good touch and what is a bad touch. Next slide, please, Sriman. Yeah, I know, Suchitra, there are some gray patches. So the good touch is always handshakes. That's it. Everything else is a bad touch. I'm not going into the details of these because these have been explained over and time again in the schools. Next slide, please. So now coming to the concept of consent. This is the most important one. What is consent? It's the permission for doing anything. And whenever you say something or ask somebody to do something, always ask for a consent. If they don't say anything, don't assume that they have given the consent. And if they say no, respect the consent. No means no. If they say stop, means no. If they turn away, means no. And if they say, I don't want, it means no. Shoving away, you away means no. If they say, leave me alone, it means no. Passed out means no. I'm not ready means no. Pushing you away means no. Don't feel like it means no. Drunk or drugged means no. Get away from me means no. Screaming means no. Don't means no. Crying means no. Yes means one thing only. Freely given consent. So these are the things you all can think about when you are uncomfortable and how to say no. Next slide, please. So it's time that you all have to stand up to the peer pressure and just say no, no, or no. Leave the scene and say, see you later. Or make up an excuse like, I just remembered I have to do something to talk, or such and such a place. Got to run. Then if not that, then you can use a humor. Like my parents found that if my parents found out, they would lock me in a room for 30 years and force me to eat bacon and broccoli, or change the subject. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to tell you about something like that. Or suggest a better idea like, let's go check out instead. Remember to always listen to your gut instinct. Never say maybe if you want to say no. Make it very clear that it is no. Next slide, please. So let's dreaming of a better future for our future generations. Next slide, Sriman.
I think there may be some
I think okay. This is the last. This is the last slide anyway. Dream better future for our generations is very, very important. And a girl is never too young to get a respect as a woman. So please fill in the post test and feedback form at the end of the session. And as they must have said that Malala has already said that I want every girl to know that her voice can change the world, and it is true. I think we all can add to that. So feedback and all that's there. And a sincere thank you to all those who helped to collaborate on this project, Team Dheera and contributors to materials on these slides. I'm not taking the names of all, but they have contributed and we have worked for almost more than 6 months, I think. And artists and credits also we thank. Then I request that we all have to come together, courageous together, and say no to violence against women. Hashtag Dheera. Let's tweet together so we can build a voice, and we can add to that our courageous voice to this conversation and say no to violence against women. Let's all tweet together. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, dear Jamuna. Your talk has been, as usual, extremely persuasive. Yeah. Although you were the last batsman, as we say in this era of T20, you did a fantastic job. Thank you so much. And a huge congratulations to all the speakers. We finished entire thing exactly on time. We still have about 3 minutes to go because 4 minutes to go before we began a little late. Good to see you, Sasmita. And Ashishda, good to see you. A huge round of applause and a huge welcome to all our colleagues from Pakistan and Bangladesh. Thank you so much for joining in today. And I hope this entire process, we can take it forward in your respective countries. We are there all the way to support you and make this happen in your respective countries. Do reach out to Shanta through an email and we'll work together. And just to let you know, please catch hold of UNICEF in your own countries, because UNICEF has funded this program over here in India. You can take reference of India, UNICEF, and it becomes much more easier in your respective countries to take it forward with UNICEF over there as well. A couple of operational things before we close the meeting for the day.
Sir, can I say 2 lines? Sir, can I say 2 lines? Just 2 lines.
Who's this?
Alka, Dr. Alka.
Alka, just hang on, please. Just hang on, please. Let me finish the operational bit so that we will be on time, and nobody is going to hold my neck for it if you did not complete it on time.
Yes. Yeah.
Any delay is because of Sudha and Alka. Okay, please.
Yeah.
Okay. The first thing is a Zoom invite will be fixed by us, and the invitation will be sent to all of who want to do the program. For that, we will need 3 things from you. 1, you fix a date. 2, you fix a time. And 3, how many expected numbers you're expecting that needs to be communicated to us. So if you send us the 3 things at one time in an email, you will get an image Zoom response, and a Zoom slot will be fixed for you. You can do physical meeting or training other than online. For a physical, 4 things are non-negotiable. They have to register, they have to submit pre-test, they have to do post-test, and they have to submit the feedback form, which they can do at their own convenience from their home, their mobiles, or wherever. And they can all gather in a classroom or in a conference hall or a meeting hall, and you can do it physically. The Zoom will be opened even for you, even if you do it physically. Okay, because Shanta's video has to be played. So you make arrangements that the Zoom is available, and rest of the time the Zoom can be kept muted by us, unless you require some other faculty to also join in, who will join in online only, because they may not be present in your respective city. So I hope that answers your question, Anjali. Then the other thing is, you can combine boys, you can combine girls, you can combine teachers, and you can combine 9th to 12th graders, because there is nothing controversial. It is all a learning for everybody to sit down together and understand this entire bit. Number 4 is, you can combine 1 or 2 schools in order to get the quorum. One school you can be physically present, the other school can join in online. The best thing is to do is approach the school with Shanta's letter, which we will be emailing it to you, because we have all your emails through the registration. So you'll be, we'll send you all the relevant formats, all the relevant, letters, so you can use them freely to approach the schools to get them on board. 1 to 2 schools will be a great thing. We have 116 people here, and huge congratulations to all the participants, Foxians, and all the international people here, because I can see we started off with 116 and we still continue to be 116. So the stickiness of this entire program in terms of interest has been fantastic. The last bit I have to tell you is that for your training program, we will be able to allocate master trainers from you, because now we have a pool of 650 master trainers, including you all. So in case you don't have a master trainer in your city or in your location, in the email, let us know, and we will allocate a master trainer for you. You can yourself be the master trainer, take 2 or 3 topics, and somebody else can also join you from any other location. I think Zoom gives us that opportunity. With that, Sriman, can you post the post test over here in the chat box so that everybody can click and submit the post test? Do not worry if the meeting ends and you're not able to do it, because there will be a follow-up email. We will send this. Thank you very much. Somebody is Pratibha Sarda, you have to mute yourself, please. Thank you. Thank you so much, Aruna, Lakshmi,
thank you, sir,
and Jamuna, for a fantastic job done. It's been absolute pleasure to continue to work with each one of you as we go along, and each one of the other master trainers. It will be a pleasure to continue working with you as we go along.
Sir, one question is there in the chat box saying, how do they get the school emails? How do they consult the schools?
It is not possible for us to, source the emails of the schools, because they are located in different cities. This is something which you will have to facilitate through your friends, children, through your patients, and your patients' children, if possible, because we know we are meeting a lot of these people in our respective clinics. in our respective friend circles, in our respective groups that we are chat, the WhatsApp groups that we are in. So, we'll have to find a way and mean to get such emails or those phone numbers and those contacts at this point in time. With that, I think if there is nothing else, Alka, you had something to add, and then Sudha, and that's about it.
Ajay sir, thank you very much for allowing me to give me some feedback. Actually, excellent talks and excellent slides. All speakers, great. I wanted to give one feedback when we conduct these programs for school children, girls and boys. So giving training adds to their facial expression, because that is the first response shown by the girl to the abuser, alleged abuser. If she shows a strong face like a courageous girl, 50% of the job is done. And if the remaining 50%, sometimes we can teach judo karate also in some schools, if possible. But this knowledge of how to protect ourselves and how to respond to the situation gives so much courage to that particular girl in that particular instance. So the 50% the girl, boy runs away, looking at the response of the girl. This is also important job, apart from adding enrichment of other things. So thank you very much, Shanta Kumari, Ajay sir, all of you, for the betterment of this adolescent child or woman as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
PPTs are available in Hindi also?
No.
No. I have already mentioned this earlier. Probably,
But Ajay sir, we tried in a lot of Telugu medium schools also where they don't know English, but the slide will be projected. Many have the pictures and you can complete in the regional language.
Yes,
while you are
explaining. We can translate
against women. One more thing I want to tell Ajay.
Sandhya Shri, in case the school does not have a Zoom facility, you are again unmuted.
Dr. Pratibha, kindly mute yourself.
So in such a case, Sandhya Shri, what we will have to do is we will have to conduct a physical session, and we will give you an Excel sheet format, which the students and the school will have to fill up with the details and submit it to us so that we can facilitate. But try to keep that to the minimum, because see, with all the practices that we have, our own practice we have with college attendance, with our family commitments and everything else, we do not want to add another commitment to your head that you have to fill up the Excel sheet and submit to us. So try as much as possible, support them. Just to give an example, Vijayawada team, I need to point them out. They have been simply fantastic. What the Vijayawada team did was they would reach the school 2 hours before, make the students all sit down one by one, and actually took one, the computer operator from the school and punched in all the details immediately before the start of the session. So you could do that also. You can find ways and means to do something like that. On that note, Sudha, you're the last one. What is it that you would like to share with us?
Yes, sir. Good evening. It was a wonderful this thing. I am from Mysore Medical College, sir, Mysore. And I being the trainer for ARSH, I was a master trainer for ARSH, that is Adolescent Friendly Reproductive and Sexual Health Services. I'm into this program since almost 20 years, sir. So we used to train female health workers and also the medical officers, etc. Now, what is my question is, should we have to train our own members from the Mysore Society before we take up this program to the schools? Because we had made a team for Dheera from the society when I was president for the last year, and I had sent the members, but I don't think nobody has joined for this master training. Should we have to train our own members, or shall we proceed with that, whatever you have said?
Yeah, please do proceed with what I have said, because there are no further master training sessions to be conducted at this point in time. And we have, Sudha, we have 650 master trainers across the country. And we will be able to support you and everyone else in whichever way we can do that.
Sudha ma'am, there are many Kannada master trainers, I mean from whole Karnataka.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Lakshmi Prashant, and then someone Manipal, Chitradurga and all, they have done programs.
Okay.
Quite a few of them are there.
And Bangalore, Dr. Padmini Prasad and others are there.
From Bangalore, yeah, from Bangalore.
Kiranmai, will you send us the link in the email?
Which link,
post
please?
test, ma'am. Yes.
Will you send us the link in the email also?
Yes, we will do that.
Yes,
We will
ma'am.
do that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Sudesh, we will, and Rinku, we will be sharing the recording in email. So you can
And
revise.
do we get the PowerPoint presentation, sir, or should we have to
We will
prepare
get
our
the
own?
PowerPoint presentations also.
The same
No
module
sooner,
you have to present, ma'am.
no sooner you fix the program
Hmm.
with the date and time and expected number, let us know. Once the faculty is fixed, immediately an email will come to you, a comprehensive email with the complete guideline and the link to download all the PPTs.
Okay, sir.
That answers
So, madam,
all
I would like to ask something. Hello.
Yes, Rashmi.
Yes, I have submitted the post test and the feedback form now. So now will I be getting the certificate of completion of this training?
Yes, everybody who has submitted all of this and has attended the program will be getting a certificate as master trainers.
Okay, thank you very much.
But please do not send us a mail in the next half an hour. Where is my certificate?
Okay, thank you so much.
Please bear with us. Certificate will be will come.
I have also submitted the post test and feedback.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alba.
Ajay, one more thing.
Can we close the meeting?
Ajay, I want to say one more thing.
Yes, Jamuna, please.
That
Jamuna, you're having the last word, okay? We close the meeting.
Yeah, because all those members today who have logged in, and if they have a contact with the secondary school boards in their own respective states or the districts, they can approach those people and rope in more schools. That's what I want to tell.
Just there is a one question for me. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Madam.
Previously, I used to take the this training for the general public also. This domestic violence. This is only for the VOW, but that was the domestic. Can we use that presentation? I'm also having some presentations on the domestic violence from the UNICEF side. I used to take.
Yeah, now currently this program is funded by UNICEF and approached by Foxy only for the school program right now. Okay, so if you want to do it, on your own accord, you can do it. We will not be able to support it as much, but we would strongly recommend let's try to reach the reachable right now before we try to expand it in future.
I want to know, can we use that presentation or only these presentation, and whether we will get these presentations or not?
Oh, that's an excellent question.
Yeah.
All the PPTs will be given to you. You have to use only these PPTs. You cannot change any word, any line in the presentation, which all will come as a policy matter when an email comes to you. Fantastic to see so many people have already submitted it. And on that happy note, can we call this meeting to a close? Thank you very much.
After how many days do we get our certificates?
Sorry?
After how many days do we get our certificates?
As soon as possible. I cannot commit because
previous domestic violence certificate has also not been posted.
No, we are not responsible for the certificate of domestic violence. We are responsible for Dheera.
Dheera only last master trainer
module.
Okay, that's in process.
On 6th May, yet not received that.
That's in process. It's a lengthy process because the system has to check everything before they issue it. Yeah, it will come.
Okay, thank you. But all the presentations were really very excellent. Really.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Ajay sir, I have not received the link, post-test link. I have not received the link. I have not received the post-test link.
It is there in the chat box.
On the chat box. On chat box, it was available. It is available. I have just taken the screenshot and filled the post-test and feedback.
Ajay, one question, 1 second. Ajay, the date is showing wrong date for me. I'm trying to fill up the form. 14/05/2022, it's showing wrong date.
The date for
filling up.
Don't write 2022, write only 22. 14/05/22.
No, there are 4 Y's there. That's why I wrote 2022.
No, it is taking 22.
Okay. 1 minute. 1 minute. You have MMDDYY.
Yeah,
Write
MMDDYYYY.
month first.
YYYY. Yes.
0514 then 22.
Yes, yes, yes.
05 to 14. No, I wrote 1405. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. On that happy note, all the very best. Each one of you have a wonderful evening and a good
Thank you,
weekend.
sir.
Ashish,
Thank
I'll catch you later.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Hello, hello, मेरे post test नहीं आ रहा जी.
All speakers were excellent.
Ma'am, post test is not visible.
No, it is link available. You open
Hello?
the link. Just open the link and
Link
you
has
will
been sent to me. Email.
Link in the chat box.
This one.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Kindly email this link. Kindly email this link.
Sure, ma'am. We'll send you the link through mail.
Mane sir, kindly.
Yeah, we will email it, please.
Please email me. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for that. Thank you, program. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Everyone close your site.
Okay, madam.
Okay, sir.
खिंचदा यार कितों आवाज आ
What should be written for the month, sir?
Mention as number, madam, 05.
05. Yeah, it is coming. It's not taking it. That's invalid date. Okay.
Or else you can write from other mobile, madam.
No, either we